Hi, Aletha here with Create Your Future. Create Your Future is giving away a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. The link is in the description box below. And I am currently, until the end of March, running a sale on all of my coaching and all of my courses, so check it out. Today I want to talk about environment, external environment versus internal environment, okay? The external environment may be lack, the things that we don't want, the lack of an SP, the lack of health, the lack of money, the lack of whatever it may be, or something you want to change and adjust, or you're not being treated properly from other people. Whatever it is external, and it is a reflection of your past thoughts. We have a tendency, if not are completely convinced that the external world is real, when in fact it is not. It is a reflection, an illusion. It's not real. I heard someone say it's dead. It doesn't exist. It's not real. So we're placing our attention, our focus, our emotions, our thoughts, and building our life off of something that doesn't even exist. What does exist is what you are thinking inside. In the moment, I am whatever I am conscious of being. So in the moment, if I am totally, completely conscious of my external world being lack and everything I don't want, then I'm going to get more of lack and everything I don't want, because internally I'm conscious of that. Once I change my consciousness and I take my attention off the external world, that environment, and create a new environment within my internal world, in my mind, in my imagination, in my thoughts, my mental diet, when I live from the vision of having already the thing that my heart desires, then I am going to be pushing that out and it will be reflected back. Now, when I'm living from having it internally, that means I'm feeling as though I am that person now. So if I am wanting to be with my SP, I'm feeling loved. I'm feeling loved. I am feeling like I have this beautiful, wonderful connection with this other person, and that it is beautiful and unified and intimate and all the good things that you want in a relationship. I live feeling that right now. So see, the cool thing is, and what I've discovered on my journey is, when you actually get to the place, because it's a discipline to get there, but once you get there, by forcing yourself to stay in the wish fulfilled already inside of you, as opposed to getting all caught up in the 3D and allowing that to rule your life. But when you say, no, I'm putting you aside because this is who I am now, this is what I am, and you live from that, and when you do that repeatedly, you're going to come to a time where you feel so much love for that SP, for the perfect health, for whatever it is your heart's desiring. You're going to feel the love. You're going to feel you are that person. I don't need my SP to call me, to text me. I don't need to watch my phone and figure out when they're going to call, or look at the 3D and say, well, they always call around this time, or they don't, or I don't need to worry if I'm being blocked. I don't need to worry about any of that, because internally I'm satisfied. I'm happy. I'm with my SP. Internally is the real world. Not what you're seeing in the external world. That's dead. It doesn't exist. What exists is what you are thinking and feeling and believing inside. And I'm telling you right now that when you keep pushing yourself to stay in that internal world of already having what it is your heart's desiring, and feeling that to the fullest extent, imagining it and feeling the love and the joy of whatever it is your heart's desiring, and you get to the point where you just have these rushes of love and complete satisfaction and joy internally, no matter what's showing up in your external world, you won't need the external world anymore. You won't focus on it anymore because it feels so good internally. And you know that internally, cognitively at least, that it is the true real reality. And as you are living in that feeling, it's hard for me to say, just move yourself more and more, practice into that world of your imagination, where you're with your specific person, where you have the perfect health, where you feel the joy of the abundance in your life and the relief, where you feel all those positive, elevated emotions. And you live in that consistently, bringing yourself back to it. Neville Goddard says every time the negative world or the 3D world starts to bump into you and say, yeah, but this, say no. He says, ignore it and push it aside. You can acknowledge it, then say, I'm going to ignore you because you're not real. Put it aside, here's who I am now. You have to become that person inside of yourself. And when you become that person internally, then nothing else matters externally. You don't care if they call you or they don't call you. You don't worry about when the next payment for whatever is going to come to sustain you financially. You don't worry about the symptom that's showing up right now, because you know that right now you have it all. And when you know you have it all and you feel that beautiful, ecstatic joy. And when I say ecstatic joy, I don't mean you're jumping up and down and acting like a crazy person all day long, like you're jubilantly dancing around and like in a musical. No, it's just that you have an inner peace, an inner knowing that is ecstatic in its own calm, beautiful way. And when you can live in that peace, that it's mine. I know it's mine. It's not showing up yet in the 3D, but it's mine, because I know it will. It has to. That's the law of assumption. It will externalize itself and become my next 3D reality. So you're not, one way to find out or to test yourself to see if you're literally living in the end and is to, are you checking your phone all the time to see if you're getting a text? Are you gauging when that person is free so that you know that so now's the time they normally call me, now's the time they normally text me, are you constantly checking social media platforms? Whatever it is that you are so accustomed to and have expected in your 3D from that person, or when you're getting a symptom or it's still showing up, or it's taking so long, or the doctor said this or that, or I saw something on Google, or YouTube. You don't live from that. You live from what the vision inside of you. And that may be totally contrary to everything the world around you is saying, but you can be and do anything you want. And so you don't need outside information. You don't need anything but your vision, and you live from that. And you live from it so much that you know it's real. And that's when you get that joy and that peace. And when you do, your life is ecstatic. Your life is, you can walk around smiling, and so you're going to bed at night without your SP. It's okay. They're in your heart. That's really all that matters. You are connected with them energetically. And Neville says, there's a time frame for everything, and he goes through the whole process of germination with, different animals and plants and whatever, when things germinate and then they pop up through the ground if you're a plant and start to bloom. You don't have to worry about when it's all going to come to you. There is a special gestation time. That's okay. Let it be. In the meantime, you're living from it anyway. You have it now. And one of the things that I discovered on my journey is that I stopped worrying about if the person called me. I stopped worrying about where they were, what they were doing, who they were with, it doesn't matter, because that version of them doesn't exist for me anymore. The version that existed for me was the version that was everything I wanted them to be to me. I wanted our relationship to be loving and open and transparent, totally and completely exclusive to just him and I, just us. That's all I wanted, and that's all I lived with, and that's who I imagined myself being with that person. And then there were so many other things involved with that, how I looked, how I felt physically, mentally, emotionally. And that's, I walk through my dining room, and that's the external world, seeing the furniture, seeing the walls, the stuff that I'm accustomed to, but internally, that was the external world. But internally, I'm walking through that dining room, and I'm seeing me in another environment with other people, with other things, looking differently, feeling differently, because that is my vision. And as long as I stay in that vision and feel those feelings of being that person, the more I do that, the more I become that person internally. And when I become that person internally, it has to externalize and become my reality. And so you need to work towards feeling so in love with a situation inside of you that you don't worry about what's going on in 3D. It doesn't affect you. You could be really separated from your SP and haven't heard from them in months, but inside you are with them, and you feel all of that love and joy. And you know what you're doing when you do that? You feel all that love and joy, and it's a very natural thing, but it's a process to get there, of denying yourself the luxury of thinking and feeling and living from the old environment, which is showing up in your 3D. When you deny that, it dies, it goes away. And what you are feeding, what you are acknowledging, has to come into fruition. And so people ask me how long. I don't know. It depends on how well you are or how good you are at living from the end inside, feeling you are that person now, and all that beautiful, loving feeling of peace, knowing I already am this person, I already have it, and I live internally that way. And you don't even look at the external world. You don't get all freaked out because they haven't called you, or you're ghosted, or whatever it might be, or that you've got some new symptom today. No, I have perfect health. And that's what I live from, only that. And you stay there, and you have a vision in your mind of what that looks like, what that feels like, because you're imagining it. And you should be imagining it several times a day, especially in the beginning. I mean, how do you change a program? You've got to replace the old with the new. And I've mentioned this before. If I'm going to learn lines for a play, and I just did a play, I'm not going to get on the stage and say the lines from the old play. No, that old program, it's not going to work, is it? I have to learn the new lines. And how do I learn the new lines? I have to lay the old lines aside, the old script, and I have to get the new script and put it in front of me and memorize it, right? So that I can stand on that stage and say my lines and interact with the other characters on the stage and be that character versus the one I was in a previous play. I can't bring the old play script into the new play. It won't work. I'll be fired, right? It wouldn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense to bring your old script from the 3D of everything you do not want into your internal world and try to get yourself to have the things your heart's desiring. It's not going to work. You're using the old script. You have to write a new script, and then you have to live from only the new script. You memorize it. How do you memorize it? You practice it. You do your imagining couple of times a day with 5-7 seconds. That's not too long. And you do affirmations that affirm it. You know, walking around and saying affirmations in the morning, being very rote about it, and then going about the rest of your day living in the old 3D realm isn't going to get you what you want. If you were walking around saying your intentions diligently, but most of the time internally, you are still feeling the feelings of the old environment, of the 3D realm. You're living from it, then you're not going to get what you want. You can say those intentions all you want, but you cannot get what you want if your consciousness is focused on something else. Your consciousness has to be focused on them. See, your intentions are a support to your vision. You live the vision internally and support it with the intentions. I am prosperous. I am perfect health. I am with my SP or in a loving relationship. I am whatever it is your heart's desiring. They support the vision, and the vision is what you live from constantly. And when you fall off of it, you bring yourself right back. Neville Goddard says, just acknowledge it, ignore it, lay it aside, and come back to the vision. Of course I do. I mean, I'm going through the day and all of a sudden I'll find that I'm thinking something negative, or I have an imaginal scene in my mind, all of a sudden something negative with regards to whatever in my world. No. That's being conscious. That is being a conscious selector. No, I acknowledge it. Okay, I had that thought, fine. I'm going to ignore it now. I'm going to lay it aside. It's not a part of who I am. And I simply say, that's not who I am. And I go back to being that beautiful, wonderful person that I have chosen to be. I'm shifting into that. And each time you do that, you're rewiring your brain to be more and more that person, that thing, whatever it is you want, so that the program is changing. And when you do that and you shift into that new state of being, that new state of consciousness, it has to show up in your 3D reality. But you cannot have one foot in the old consciousness and one in the new. It won't work, just like the play. I can't get on stage and in one act say the lines from the old play, and then the second act say the lines from the new play. It isn't going to work. The play will be a flop, and I would be fired anyway as an actress, right? It wouldn't work. The director would be very unhappy with me. So you need to remember that as the director of your life, you control your thoughts. Do not allow yourself to live partially in the 3D realm right now, the current one. That's not what you want, and partially in the vision. I have people tell me all the time when I'm coaching, but I'm living from the end. And the whole time they're sitting there telling me everything that happened, word for word, detail after detail, that took place in their 3D that was all negative and everything they don't want. Now, is that living from the end? I don't think so. I won't allow myself to think that stuff. I won't allow myself. As soon as I start to, I stop it. You have to make a concerted effort to live from the end. You're changing a program. You know, you're changing a habit. It takes practice. It takes time. And it always depended, the time is dependent on how well you stay or how good you are at staying in the new vision or the story that you want to experience versus the one you have currently going on in your 3D reality. So when you change your internal environment to be in alignment with what it is your heart's desire, your external world will change. It's not going to change if your external world is ruling your thoughts and your emotions. If it is, then that's a sign for you that you're not living from the end of the wish fulfilled, and that you must force yourself in the beginning. And after a while, it becomes such a joy. And like I can think about, in the past, I could think about my SP who was separated from me and feel so much love and so much joy and feel that beautiful feeling of two people that are united in love. It materialized eventually, but you have to live there internally first before it's going to materialize externally. And then what do? You've got to ignore your current 3D reality that is the opposite of what you want and live fully from the vision. It doesn't matter what they say. And you know what? People say, well, it's easy when you're not having interaction with them and you're ghosted and you don't see them. Of course, it's easy to stay in the new story. You don't have to interact with them. But I had to interact with mine all the time. And so you can do this. I did it. You can do it. And I have a very powerful ego. But I'm still I'm in control of that, right? I'm the operant power. I took control of that and said, no, I'm ignoring you. I'm putting you aside because this is who I choose to be, who I am. And you live from there and you live internally, joyfully. So no matter what the guy or the girl says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're doing or who they're doing it with. You are living from the end of already being whatever it is you want with that person. And when you do that, it will have to, because it's the law of assumption, it will have to be projected out of you and then reflected back so that it will manifest into your world and you will become that person with that person that you want to be with, or the health, or the money, or the career, or the family life, or whatever it is you desire. Let go of the external world. You cannot think and feel from the external world and expect your desires and your intentions to manifest. You must live from the internal world, supported by your intentions. And then when you do that, you will see your life change dramatically and become everything your heart is designed, because it's yours anyway, already. You just haven't put your attention on it. And you can't straddle between the two environments, the external and the internal. No, it's one or the other, bottom line. So what do you want? Live inside from your dream, feel it and enjoy it. And I'm telling you, the day will come when you're just gonna feel so much love. You don't need the external world anymore. You don't need that person to call you and say, I love you. You don't need anything other than the beauty that you feel inside, because it's already yours. You know it's yours. And you're feeling it like it's yours now, because it is. And when you get to that point, everything in your life will shift and become exactly what your heart's desiring. Moving from one dimension into another. Blessings.